Hey everyone, today I'm going to be comparing two of my favorite stock recommendation services, the Motley Fool and GorillaTrades. These are both great services, but they're targeted at very different types of investors. Motley Fool Stock Advisor focuses on long-term, explosive growth stocks with an investment horizon of at least 5 years. GorillaTrades is built for swing traders, and it focuses on short-term breakouts that offer a high probability of profits over the course of a few days to a few weeks. So with that, let's dive in, and I'll help you decide which of these services is right for you. So I want to start off talking about the Motley Fool and what this service includes. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the Stock Advisor service, which is the platform's flagship recommendation service. But the Motley Fool also has some other similar services that are worth checking out, like Epic and Full Portfolios, and I'll include links to my videos on those services below if you want to learn more about them. With Stock Advisor, you get 2 recommendations each month for long-term growth stocks to consider buying. Some examples of stocks the service has recommended in the past include Amazon, Netflix, Disney, and Nvidia, all in the early days before they became some of the biggest companies in the S&P 500. The expectation with the Motley Fool is that you'll hold recommendations for at least 5 years and potentially a lot longer, so you don't really have to worry too much about entry price or timing the market. You can buy the stocks anytime around when the new recommendations are released, which makes this a relatively low-stress service and a good option for newer investors. Each new stock comes with a research report that explains the rationale behind the recommendation, which can be really helpful if you want to dig in a bit more and pick and choose which recommendations to follow. I like these reports a lot because they're pretty accessible. You don't need to know a ton about fundamental analysis or valuation metrics to follow along with them. Instead, they tend to focus more on the growth opportunity within a sector and signals like whether a company is growing its revenue from existing customers. The reports also do a nice job of highlighting intangibles like whether a company has a strong moat around it and the quality of the leadership team. In addition to the research reports for new stock recommendations, Stock Advisor also comes with daily market analysis and news. To me, the point of Stock Advisor is that it doesn't take a lot of attention since I'm going to hold the recommended stocks for at least a few years, and I'd rather not be stressed about day-to-day market conditions. So I honestly almost never look at this daily analysis, but if you do want to know what's going on, this is a nice add-on. One of the things I want to highlight that I really like about Stock Advisor is the monthly rankings list. This is a list of 10 stocks that are already in the portfolio that you can consider doubling down on right now. They might be stocks that are going through a pullback that's creating a buying opportunity, or stocks trending upwards with really strong momentum that the Motley Fool team thinks will continue. I love how easy it is to just check the rankings list and get some ideas for where to consider putting your money at any given moment. Say you don't love a new recommendation and want to buy something else, or you have extra money to invest in between recommendations, you can check the rankings list to see what stocks to consider. The one downside to Stock Advisor that's worth discussing is that since the plan is to invest for at least 5 years, that can sometimes lead to holding onto losing stocks for a lot longer than I'd like. It's not common, but I've seen stocks in the portfolio lose 80-90% of their value. Personally, I try really hard to avoid losses that big, even if the portfolio overall is profitable. So I often place stop losses around 40% on new Stock Advisor recommendations, and I find that's enough to avoid stopping out during most pullbacks, but it has saved me a few times from clinging onto recommended stocks that just didn't work out. In terms of overall performance, Stock Advisor has a really strong track record. It's beaten the S&P 500 839% to 164% from 2002 to March 2025, which is a really impressive achievement that not even many professional investors can match. This is maybe the biggest selling point of the Motley Fool in general and Stock Advisor in particular. The recommendations are just really good. So now let's talk about GorillaTrades. This is a swing trading service that offers a few stock picks each week, mainly based on technical analysis. The service looks for stocks that are poised for a breakout and can push higher with strong momentum. You'll get a buy alert when the breakout happens and a sell alert when preset price targets are reached or the stock's momentum starts to fade. What really stands out to me about GorillaTrades is that it does a terrific job with risk management. Each new pick comes with a trigger price, an initial price target, a secondary price target, and a stop loss. So you don't buy until there's a trigger, which means the stock already has upward momentum. Then if it hits the first price target, you'll get an alert to sell 75% of your position. That books in profit and frees up capital that you can use for the next trade, and you let the remaining 25% run to the second price target to potentially extend your gains. With the stop losses, you have a built-in system to prevent losing more than about 10% on any trade, and you don't even have to be sitting by your computer to manually enter a sell order. If a stock beats its first price target, the stop loss is raised on that 25% of your position remaining, so you're more likely to profit on the remainder even if the stock falls after that. It's a really conservative, easy to follow risk management system that gives your wins a chance to run and make sure your losses are cut early. Another thing I really like about GorillaTrades is that even though it's a little bit involved and there's to actively monitor the service and trade, it doesn't take a ton of work. You get buy and sell alerts by text message, and you just need to be able to enter orders when these alerts come through. I've used this service for several years, and it's pretty rare for me to feel overwhelmed or like I'm having a hard time following along. And if I'm traveling for a few days or I just can't get to an alert on time, it's not the end of the world. It's pretty easy to get back on track with the next pick. I also really like how GorillaTrades presents information about new picks and what's happening in the portfolio. Every new potential trade comes with an annotated chart where you can see the trigger price, the price targets, the stop loss, and a risk rating on a scale of 1 to 5. You also get nightly emails that sum up what happened in the market that day, how the GorillaTrades portfolio performed, and any new picks to watch for the next day. These emails might look a little confusing at first, but I got used to them pretty quickly, and now I feel like I can tell you exactly what's going on in the portfolio from just a quick glance at one of these emails. GorillaTrades doesn't keep an overall record of its performance, so it's a little bit hard to compare apples to apples with Stock Advisor. It also makes it seem like the service is trying to hide something, which I don't quite understand since in my experience it has a lot more winning picks than losing picks. Winning trades typically return around 8 to 10% each, with some running 50% or more on that 25% of your position you keep after the first price target is reached. The stop losses make sure that you don't lose around more than 10% on bad trades. In terms of choosing between the Motley Fool Stock Advisor and GorillaTrades, the main factor is going to be whether you're looking for long-term growth stock recommendations or short-term swing trades. These are fundamentally different services that are looking at the stock market in totally different ways. Stock Advisor costs $199 per year, and I have a discount code that I'll include with this video, so you can get your first year for just $99. GorillaTrades is a bit more expensive at $499.95 per year, but you don't necessarily need a huge portfolio to make the service worth it since trades turn over so quickly. For both services, I'd recommend about a $10,000 portfolio as a minimum to make them worthwhile. Overall, I really like both the Motley Fool and GorillaTrades, and I don't think you can go wrong with either service. If you're a long-term investor, Stock Advisor is a great way to build a growth stock portfolio. And if you're more interested in short-term trading, GorillaTrades can help you find high-probability trades and manage your risk. If you want to learn more, I've got full video reviews of both services, and I'll include links to those in the description below.